Joey Barrington, and I've managed to block out on the squash court Camille Serme, who's with us here in Nantes, former world #3. Camille, lovely to have you here.
Thank you.
You retired from the PSA World Tour last year, which was a massive announcement, obviously, for not just world squash, but for yourself and French squash. And you've been a busy bee, though, off the court with a very exciting development, looking at a major tournament.
Yes.
For the first time in a long time in Paris by the Eiffel Tower. Just tell us a little bit about the developments of that event.
Yeah, I can tell you that it's a funny story how it started, because it actually started before I took the decision to retire. It was October 2021, and just randomly spoke about it with some close people around me, Philippe around it as well, and we were just like thinking it's such a shame to have great players in France and all over the world and not have a big event in Paris. And as a player, it was one of my dreams, and I was like, I want to be in the team that is gonna, make it happen. And so it's a new challenge, it's a new dream, and I love being in this team to try to make it happen.
And the location's obviously the key, with so many amazing historical buildings and places in Paris. I mean, there's just too much to choose from, but you chose to get the permissions from the council to have it very close to the Eiffel Tower.
Yes.
What were the other locations?
Well, it could have been Notre Dame de Paris or Le Louvre. There's, as you said, there's plenty, but first of all, we wanted something iconic, as the pyramids in Egypt, the Grand Central Station. We wanted something as beautiful and something that everyone knows it's French and Paris. So obviously Eiffel Tower was a good location, and because of our president of the association, Eric, it's really thanks to him that we are allowed to get this location.
So he's a new president of the French Federation, is
No, I mean in France you have to build an association to be able to put on an event like this.
Wow, so you have to create an association
Yes.
to then approach
Exactly.
the councils, so there's obviously a lot of red tape involved.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the reasons why there hasn't been a major event in Paris for such a long period of time, and in France, apart from obviously here in Nantes.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of work. It's a big challenge because there's a lot to deal with, and politicians and stuff like that, as you said. But luckily, yeah, Eric, this great guy and passionate, and he knows a lot of people, and that really helped.
So you've got the location.
Yes.
We're now looking obviously at the dates as well, which is it August 2023 that they're slotted in?
Yes, we actually have the dates with the PSA. It's 28th of August.
Right.
Until the 2nd of September.
Okay, so
yes.
a nice time of year, a lovely
yeah,
time
well,
of year for outdoor. It would be obviously outdoor squash
yes.
in the evenings.
Yes.
But the sponsorship side of things is a work in progress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the other part, the other tough part, obviously. We're trying. We need all the help that is possible. Obviously, we had a good. It's a good start, but it's still a long way.
And have you had much advice or meetings with the organisers here in Nantes? Because of course we know what this event has stood for some years.
Exactly.
And then this new location has now surpassed the ticket sales. They're looking at nearly 6,000 for the week, which is extraordinary.
Yes.
And that's obviously an amazing crew of people to go
Yeah.
and get advice from. So is that something you guys may be looking to work together a little bit?
Yeah, obviously it was one of our first move actually. The team, we met the team here in Nantes, and we tried to ask them how they did it, how they all the work. We need their experience, as you said, and I think they're happy to be working with us. And we thought, having two big events, maybe 1 week apart in the calendar would be really good for having the best players in the world. I think it's a win-win for each tournament and each team. So and it's going to be great for the French squash. And it's not about only putting on a great event. We want to make squash big in France and do a lot of stuff around squash, to attract more.
This is fantastic. This is something that we're looking to build all around the world, as you know, being a former player and being involved with that. Exciting time for French squash. You've had so many great players, Gregory Gaultier, Thierry Lincou, yourself and the women, setting a high bar for the women's level. There's a lot of work to be done now, isn't there, with the women's level here in France to try and bring them through. And are you looking to be involved a little bit with that as well, with your expertise and experience?
Yeah, it's something I really want to do. I feel like it would be easier with maybe the younger ones. Obviously, I can help or try to help Melissa and her other friends as well, but it's not the same because they're already, you know, in the top PSA players. But yeah, sharing my experience with, you know, we have 2 younger players now in my club. They're only 18. I feel like there's a lot to share with them, a lot I can help them with, so I really want to do it.
So the great French history in more recent times on the PSA World Tour with Thierry Lincou and Gregory Gaultier and yourself, frustrations with not having such a major tournament in your own backyard with all that rich amount of players that we're achieving at the highest level, winning majors like yourself and the other players. I mean, how frustrating was that for you, and how were you able to manage the fact that you didn't have necessarily what was perceived as that support to utilise your star status and produce these events, these major events in more recent times here in France?
Yeah, as you say, it was a lot of frustration because, especially for me, like I really enjoyed playing in front of, you know, friends, families, having home as staff, and it would have been great to have this tournament here in Paris before. And I feel like, as you said, like with Greg and Gauthier and even Greg Marsh, obviously being top 15 in the world. I mean, for the French Federation, I feel like it was the best time maybe to, you know, to have this this great event, and maybe it would have been easier to sell it to sponsors and stuff like that. But I really want to share what squash gave me as well, and I love challenges. I always did, and I feel like it's a new way to have a challenge, and I don't know. I feel like it's something I want to fight for. I want to help and do my best to, yeah, make squash bigger. I want to see squash on TV as well, not only on Squash TV. Obviously, it's a great help, and we all love it. But I mean, if one day I can, you know, switch on the TV in France and see squash, obviously that's what we want for our sport. So we really hope it's gonna work.
You mentioned there you love a challenge. A lot of ex-players will take possibly what's perceived as an easier option to go abroad. The United States is certainly a hub to go and coach. Financially, it's very viable and can be very successful for them. How come you've decided to stay obviously in France, but also look to try to break the anomaly of not having a major tournament in Paris?
There's a few reasons, but I feel like squash gave me a lot. I feel very lucky with what I had in France, with what I experienced, what I lived on the tour, and I don't know, I was always someone who loved sharing, and I feel like some more people should have the opportunity to live what I had. And I think I'm someone who is faithful as well, and well, as you know, I always worked with Philippe, and I feel like I kind of owe something to my club, the French Federation, Philippe even, like, because we're together in this project as well, and it's nice to still be working together as a new project, still in squash. So yeah, I don't know. I need to do something that I love and I'm passionate about, and that's it.
And it is amazing how these events can be a starter for these younger, you know,
Yeah,
the younger
exactly.
audiences. We're talking about the juniors that come to these amazing international events, and if you can get this established in France, then that could also help with that kind of catalyst of getting players through. But it's really exciting from our point of view on the PSA to hear of a major tournament coming to Europe.
Yeah.
with it being a world tour, it's so important, and with the past history of the players. So PSA obviously will be looking to do as much as we can. You're now commentating on Squash TV as of yesterday, and hopefully a few more events. So that's, you can keep spreading the word. But we wish you the best of luck with it.
Thank you.
And looking forward to this evening here in Nantes.
Yeah, me too.